they were totally derelict in how they shared information with the world and just general responsibility. I mean, they were communists as communists are, and it caused a massive problem everywhere. Not just a health problem, a huge supply chain problem. So if you take that concept and you say they might do this again even more intentionally, and in the case of going after Taiwan, they would intentionally attack critical infrastructure in the United States. They would intentionally cut off critical supply chains, such as we see them fooling around with rare earth magnets right now. They would do that all intentionally and at the maximum scale they possibly could to thwart our ability to project power around the world, the Pacific in particular. So Nebraska took the first look at it. And you might say, okay, Nebraska, kind of the middle of cornfields over there. Think about this. The majority of our land-based nuclear deterrent is in Western Nebraska. Stratcom is in Eastern Nebraska. They've already found China doing all sorts of dirty things around there. If you look at a map and you look at the telecommunications equipment that services everything I just described, it's all Huawei. So, and why did how did the FBI find Huawei was there? The FBI finds Huawei running around Nebraska, losing as much money as possible, as quickly as possible. They were selling way below the cost of production to get their stuff all around our nuclear triad there. And so what Nebraska has done, and a lot of this is, confidential. They haven't shared with me specific details, but they looked at supply chain vulnerabilities in that conflict. They've looked at critical infrastructure they would expect to be attacked, most likely around these military installations that are so important. And they've begun hardening and diversifying. If you could do one thing at the state level, it would be this, because it entails so much of State Armor's specific legislative priorities. We have a whole bunch of legislative priorities, but if you do the stress test, you do it for real and you really mean it and you really put effort into it, you're going to solve the procurement problem. You're going to solve the critical infrastructure problem. You're going to get your pensions out of China, because the first thing that's going to happen is the $30 billion that California holds in China is going to go to zero on the first day of that conflict. So you'll solve all these different problems as a part of conducting the stress test.